Well, it's no secret that we've been playing EVE Online for the better part of 10 years now, and we've condensed all of our ice mining learnings into this single video. So whether you're a new bro or a CEO, if you want to be the best ice mining capsuleer out there, you came to the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, Loru here, digital advertiser, EVE enjoyer, for the better part of, you know the rest. And we're going to start with some of the most important things you need to understand, and that's your skills. Now, there's a couple skills that rise above the rest when it comes to ice mining. The first one's pretty obvious, it's ice harvesting. You need to get this to 5 as soon as possible. Every single rank of this is going to make you mine ice faster, more skills, more Isk. The next one's going to be your ice harvesting drone operation. We're going to talk more about drones in the later part of this video. This is just another tool for you to get more ice while you're on the belt. Combine these two and get these to 5, and you're going to maximize the ice you can get off the belt. The next skill that's super important is mining upgrades. This skill is going to let you use those low slot ice harvester upgrade 2s. These give you a very big increase in your yield. Each one of these you fly is going to give you around 9% cycle time bonus, diminishing returns and all that being a thing. You're going to run 2 to 3 of these on most of your ships. Next skill is going to be tactical shield manipulation, and this is going to let you run those multi-spectrum shields hardeners. You get this to 4 and you can run the tech 2s. Stay tuned for the later parts of this video about why shields are so important to ice miners. The next very similar skill is going to be shield upgrades. Get this to rank 4 and you're going to be able to use those tech 2 extenders. This gives you more shield effective HP and is going to make you much harder to kill. Now let's talk about why your miners are going to be shield tanked primarily. As you can see with our Hulk fit here, all of our tank is going to be shield focused. This is primarily for one reason. Shields regenerate over time. Now it's small, we don't have a lot of passive shield regeneration, but if you get damaged by rats and it goes down to your armor or your hull, you're going to have to either fit a repper or pay for it in station. You don't want to be spending a bunch of extra Isk. It's also considered a waste of slots if we start fitting armor tank in your rigs or your lows. Mining ships are tight in terms of the number of modules that you can fit. We're going to talk about how to actually build your ship in the later part of this video. Suffice it to say, whenever I'm testing all of my stuff, you want to be shield tanked so that you can have an effective use case of your modules, and also you can save yourself some money by not having to spend money on all those armor and hull repairs. Let's talk about augments. Here's my ice mining clone. Now you can have some variations to this, and make notes, I primarily use this in high sec. It's too much money to be taking into more dangerous areas. And the big one here is this Yeti ice harvesting implant. This is going to give you a 5% decrease in ice harvester cycle time. It's very important. It takes a couple seconds off of all of my ice mining. We then use a shield operation augment. It's going to increase our shield recharge rate. We have a reprocessing one in here. This clone is a joint reprocess ice mining clone. That way when I'm on the belt and I'm done with my ice, I can go reprocess it in station. More on that later. Then we have shield management, increasing your base shield capacity. This isn't the biggest one that we can have. I got this one on sale. Always be on the lookout for those good deals in Jitta. Then we're going to have nomad implants. These are going to increase our agility. This lets us warp off faster. And again, since I'm in high sec, I want to be able to get the hell out should a roaming band of frigates show up on grid. You can use different ones here if these are too pricey for you. I'm giving you our full clone so you can see how we maximize our ice mining and maximize our Isk. Next tip we have are going to be how to make sure you get the best out of your fits. And you want to play around with how to get the best mining speed. You can see your mining speed by going to simulate here, right-clicking the actual module you have in your high slot, going to attributes, and then from there you can see your activation time duration. You've seen mine's colored green. This means we have certain things that are affecting our mining speed. If you mouse over this, you're going to see everything involved that's decreasing or increasing whatever the value is. You can see our base value for ice mining with the ore ice miner is 200 seconds, but all of these implants and skills and stuff on the ship, all this stuff is making it go down to 45-ish seconds. That's a huge increase. This basically means that we're going to get one single piece of ice every 45 seconds instead of every 200 seconds. Yowza, quite the upgrade. You can do this trick with any module you have to see what kind of bonuses that you're getting. For example, here's our afterburner. We see that our maximum velocity is higher than normal due to some of our skills. We also see that the activation time is less than normal due to some of our skills. There are a ton of ice mining ships you can use. Let's talk about when to use each one. Now we are in the ore section of the ice mining tree. It's worth noting that Ventures cannot use ice miners. Very sad. I love the Venture. It's one of the best ships in all of EVE Online. The first ice mining ship you're going to be using is most likely the mining barges. These are going to be the most cost effective. They're not as cheap as the expedition frigates for a base hull, but they are going to be easier to skill into. I recommend starting off with a retriever if you're a solo player, or a procurer if you're in more dangerous areas. And then once you're kitted into those, start kitting into your expedition frigate, specifically the Endurance. The Endurance is going to let you go get a feel for more and more dangerous areas, as it's more slippery and can outfit a cloak. From there, you're going to be upgrading a bunch of your skills and waiting to get into your exhumers. These are your big boys that cost a lot of money. Price difference between these is 20 million-ish for the base hull to 310 million for a Mackinac Mackinac for just the base hull. You want to get comfortable with the dangerous areas, low sec, null sec, and all that. So to sum up, you're going to start off with the mining barges, skill up for the expedition frigates, use both of those while you're scaling up into exhumers, and then max out your skills. Now that's when to use barges, frigates, or exhumers. But when to use the Procurer, the Coveter, the Endurance, the Skiff, there's too many. Have no fear, I will tell you. The Procurer and the Skiff are going to be your brawlers. Both those ships can do ore, ice, and gas mining, but they're considered more brawlers and beefy. They have higher health, higher damage than all the other exhumers and barges. Use these for very dangerous areas. And before I go further, we have full guides on all these ships. Go check out our ice mining masterclass playlist, just came up in the top right corner. The Coveter and the Hulk ships are going to have your highest yield, but they're paper thin and have super small cargo holds. You're going to need to use these in a fleet to be able to use their maximum power. Typically, we use our Hulks with our Orcas. We'll talk more about compression and all that later in this video. Finally, the Mackinac and the Retrievers are going to be best for your solo pilots, going into both high sec and dangerous areas. The expedition frigate is going to be if you're trying to go in to an unknown area, something that you want to be more slippery. So if you don't want to start rolling in with something like a Retriever that's more expensive than an Endurance, try the Endurance out, use the check out the locals. We have anti-gank tips coming up. So those are the ships. Let's talk about drones. There are a couple different kinds of ice harvesting drones. Each one of them gets a little bit more expensive. With the big ice harvesting drone, something you can ignore until you have a capital ship. We're just going to remove that right now. We use the augmented ice harvesting drones as they are the fastest ones, but they're so pricey, most pilots are going to be using just the Tech 2 ice harvesting drones. And while 20 seconds seems like it's a massive amount, when we look at my simulated fit and my maxed out Hulk right now, and we use the same trick we talked about earlier in the video, we see that our augmented ice harvesting drones are only going down to 193 seconds for a single block of ice. This is with rank 5 ice harvesting drone operation and rank 4 ice harvesting drone specialization. So with near maxed out skills, we're getting 1 block of ice per drone for 193 seconds. Let's compare that with our ore ice harvesters that get 1 block of ice every 45 seconds. What I'm trying to show you is that the ice harvesting drones, while getting you more ice, get you ice way slower than your actual miners themselves. So what you should do with this information is upgrade your ship first and your drones last. Get yourself in the Tech 2 ice drones and call it a day. Now let's talk about when to bring what drones. As you can see, this Hulk only has a single drone in there. The ice harvesting drones are all pretty large when it comes to cargo capacity. Each one is 50 M3. So on something like the Hulk that only has 50 M3 drone base space, you're not going to be able to bring other kinds of drones. Mackinacs and Hulks both have only 50 M3 drone space, so you really have to choose which one you want. Now all this is well and good, but how the heck do you sell the ice once you get it? We're going to talk about that in just a second. Y'all know, if you've seen one of our other videos, that we are EVE partners. That means the EVE Online devs give us in-game skins to give away to you. The value of these are in the hundreds of millions, so if you want to win some easy money, here's how we do these contests. First thing is you have to be subscribed. My bot is going to know if you're not subscribed, then you'll be disqualified. Second thing you have to do is go in the comments and type "bling my ship Loru." Third thing you have to do is put your in-game name. Do those 3 things and you're going to be entered in to win this video's contest. We do this every single video, so make sure you subscribe to never miss one of these. What I'm saying is, if we put out a video every week, that means you have a chance to win hundreds of millions of ISK every single week. Come on, there's no better deal. Also, as of the recording of this video, we have hit 6,600 subscribes, baby! Y'all are really doing it. You're showing your friends the videos, you're supporting, you're coming to the live streams, and I really appreciate it, y'all. We're trucking 10K subs are in sight. We're gonna do something real special for 10K. With all that said, let's get back to the video. You're gonna notice that the ice we have here is compressed. Now, you never want to haul your ice around just as is. It's so bulky, it's gonna take a freighter to move this kind of stuff around. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna compress the ice. You can do this a couple ways. We use an Orca. We have an Alta that does all of our compression for us on the belt. But if you don't have an Orca or an Alta yourself to be able to do this, you can take your ice to certain stations and get it compressed. Now, if you're moving around your ice uncompressed, I recommend a Cryos. Cryos is gonna have a 30K M3 ice hold. This is for Tech 1 pilots. Any Tech 2 deep space transport is going to do. Our Ocator fits, which we have full guides for, get you almost 70K M3. You can take 70 pieces of ice to whatever station you need and then compress it there. Now, which stations can you compress it on? In order to find the correct stations, you're going to go to your Neocom, go to Utilities, Structure Browser, and then from there you're going to go to the Structure Type, and then from there you're going to go to the Service Filter, and you're going to find the stations that have reprocessing plants. Now, these do need to be player-owned stations, so you can go to Structure Type, uncheck Station, and then you're going to see all the player-owned stations that have the reprocessing plant. So if it's a player-owned station that has a reprocessing plant, you can compress your ice in station. You do it the same way that you would reprocess something. You're going to right-click, and you're going to go to Compress. There isn't one in the station I'm currently in, just trust me, okay? Be aware that some stations have a tax involved. You can see this one is 0% tax. This one has a 3.4% 0% tax. That's another reason why we compress on our Orca, because I don't have to pay tax if I'm reprocessing my own ice. Now, as far as the specific tips to actually get your ice once it's compressed to JITA and sell it and all the various things involved, we have a full guide on that. It really does need to be its own video. It's in the top right corner. If you want to maximize your profits, check that video out. We are going to talk about reprocessing your stuff though. You can see in this station with all the skills and augments we have, we're about a 72.5 reprocessing percent. This is going to take the base ice from 109 million ISK to 15 million ISK. There is a fee involved in this station. I do all my reprocessing in another station where my rep is maxed out, so it costs me 0 ISK to reprocess. More ways to minimize your margins. Since you're smart, I know you can see, it's way less M3 on this side than it is on this side. We have 79k M3 here and only 32k on this side. One of the biggest rules with ice is you're always going to haul the reprocessed materials and not the main ice to market. So typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to mine it on belt, compress it on belt, reprocess it in station, haul the reprocessed mats, and make some ISK. That's the best $ drawing I've ever seen. Now let's talk about some anti-gank tips for going out in space. And typically I like to stagger my shield modules. You can see it here that my shields are running at half and then the other one starts. This minimizes the load on your CPU, making so your cycles are super easy. Now we're on a ore belt because there's no ice belts in system right now, but trust me, these tips apply to ice. Hey, we got an Orca buddy on the belt. What's up, man? So really, the only way that you're going to be killed when you're ice mining isn't the rats. It takes pretty basic skills to be able to take out all those rats. What's going to kill you is other players. Gankers that are coming in, seeing that you're on with something juicy, and they want your stuff. First thing you're going to do is look at your D-scan. It's this thing that's pinging on the right side of my screen. We have a full guide on that. Make sure you check the top right corner. And if you watch no other video after this one, that's the most important video. The directional scanner saves my life, and I hope it saves yours. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to look at local chat here. You're going to right-click people's name, look at sex status, look at their employment history, look at their bio. You're going to try to look for some unsavory characters here. For example, here's our friend Cyber Eye. They have a 5.0 security status. You can check their name out on Z Killboard as well. Here we see somebody with a 0.0 sex status. It is a brand new character of 1 month. A little bit sketchy, so you can even right-click their name and set a note like a bit sketch. That way, the next time you see them, can't spell sketch for God's sake, you can even add them as a contact, set them to bad, and that way, the next time you see them in local, you can know that something's up. So you're de-scanning, you're checking local. The other thing is positioning. And actually, this Orca is doing it not so good. You'll see the Orca right here is positioned pretty close to the entrance to this site. Now, when someone warps on to any kind of node, they're not going to warp here or here or here. If they warp at 0, they're going to warp right to this ping right here. You want to be as far from this as possible. If this was the ice, this blue line, I'd want to be here, mining away at whatever the closest rocks were. This way, if the gankers warp on grid, it maximizes the time it takes for them to get to you. And in this case, since this Orca is way more juicy than our Hulks, they're going to go after this guy first, thus giving me even more precious seconds to get the hell out. Now let's talk about safe spots. In order to make a safe spot, you're going to go to your GTFO tab. This is going to give all the celestial bodies and the gates in your solar system. If you want to copy this overview and use it for yourself, videos in the top right corner, and give it to y'all for free. It's super easy to set up. What we're going to do is we're going to right click on any celestial body. I'll pick the one that's furthest away, it's fine. We're going to warp to it within 100, and mid-warp, we're going to start making bookmarks. You can see our ship is the center of this green ball here. We're going to press Control B, we're going to type safe spot, and in the middle of warp, we're going to press submit. You can see we just made a point right here. In order to get to that spot in the middle of space, you're going to have to be in that spot, uncloaked, and someone's going to have to use combat probes to find you. See where I'm going with this? All those precious seconds you gain, you've seen them on D-scan first, you're checking local, you're already warping to the safe spot, you're not going to get ganked. I say this very passionately because I have been rocking ore ice harvesters,
the big boys,
for most of my ice mining career, and we haven't lost a single one. You do those tips, and you won't either. Now let's head back into station so we can talk about how to build the best ice miner you can regardless of skills. Let's say you finally kit it into a Hulk of your own, and you want to be able to build it, but your skills aren't exactly there yet. What you're going to do is you're going to use the simulator, and I'd like to walk y'all through my thought process on how I build a ship. That way when you build your next ship, you can cater it to max out your skills with whatever modules you can afford. So let's say we're building a Hulk for high-sec ice mining. What we want to do is start with the most necessary things first. That's the ice harvesters. Since I can afford it and we're in high-sec, we're going to go with the ore ice harvesters. Next thing we want to do is maximize the yield of this. We're going to go in our lows and get the ice harvester upgrade 2s. We're going to fill that up. Still maximizing that yield, we're going into the rigs. We're getting our ice harvester accelerator. Now that we've got all the yield we can for a high-sec Hulk miner, we want to go for survivability next. So let's go for the mids and let's see what kind of shields we can do. We always are going to use the multi-spectrum shield hardeners. This is a staple. We're going to slap on 2 of these and just see how this will work. And let me undo my searches for just a sec. So we could take a large shield hardener, slap it on, and now you see we can't can't really fit that much more inside of the mid slots. This is because the large shield extender, it's too big and it wasn't made for this ship. It's maxing out our power grid. We have 0 power grid left. We could take the ship out, but we'd be wasting modules. So instead of using a large shield extender and making our effective HP 40k, we're going to take this off and see what we can fit in terms of medium shield extenders. Okay, 1 capped us out. Now, I know from experience that the Hulk needs more CPU. You can see we're close to the CPU cap there. So let's head on down to our rigs, and we're looking for the processor overclocking unit. This is a rig that's going to increase our total CPU. You can see we just got a bunch there. Now we're going to go back to our mids and see what else we can fit. Now we can fit a second medium shield extender. This puts our total effective HP at 42k. Because we were able to use different modules here and there, we have more effective HP, a healthier ship, and we're using more modules. With the large shield extender, we were only getting 40k. Now we're getting 42. So that's how I would fit this for high sec. And as always, if you want our full Hulk guide, it just popped up in the top right corner for you. Now, if you made it this far, we're going to talk about the most important thing when it comes to ice mining, and that's which harvesters you should be taking. In order to get to this screen, you're going to open up any of the ice miners, or any module for that reason, and then press compare down here. This is going to compare all the modules that are very similar. And the first thing you notice is that the difference between the costs of these are staggering. Tech 2s are going to be your most commonly used ice harvesters. There's no mining crystals or anything like that you have to deal with ore. The difference between the ore ice harvesters and ice harvester 2s are huge though. You can see that each one of these is going to mine a single piece of ice. So we can uncheck that. The Tech 2s are going to get residue, and we're going to talk about that in just a sec. The ore ice harvesters are the same speed as ice harvester 2s. So if you're looking at the cost of the ore ice harvesters, like why the heck would someone buy that? What you get if you buy the ore ice harvesters is a better CPU usage. You can fit bigger, better modules because it costs less of your ship's resources. It doesn't get residue, and it has a longer range. The Tech 2s get residue. And really, if you take nothing else from this video, it's this. So let's say you have an ice asteroid with 100 ice units inside of that asteroid. The Tech 2s are going to get only 66% of that 100 units. So they're only going to get 66 units. You are then going to have to go over to a second asteroid and mine the other 34 units of ice. This is because the residue burns off those 34 pieces of ice from the based asteroid. The ore ice harvester is going to see that 100 piece asteroid and is going to get the full 100. No residue, no excess burn off, full ice from the asteroid. So the Tech 2 miners are going to give you the same amount of ice, just on more asteroids. So now that you're all inspired to go get as much ice as possible, we've got our maxed out Hulk fit end guide right here that I use to make hundreds of millions of ISK every single week. But if that's too expensive for you, we understand. We want to make sure that the new bros get what they need as well. So here's a retriever guide for you. Now we bling this ship out, but we do talk about how to fit it for new bros as well. Each video is chock full of tips that you're going to need. Now our last live stream, we gave away over 3 billion ISK in the form of ship skins and raw ISK. So if you don't want to miss the next one, and you don't, make sure you sub right here. It's been so much fun giving back to the community. As we keep rising in our success, I'm going to keep doing that. So sub if you never want to miss a vid, and we'll see you in the next one.